Hey guys, today I thought I'd make a video about your, shall we call it, backyard wild edibles. At least here in Norway it is. These are, the plants I'm going to show you today are found in just about every garden. You can't miss it. It's mostly considered weeds. People want it gone, but these are actually plants that you can eat and have quite good nutritional value and some other cool stuff. I have 4 plants that I thought I'd cover today. These are, like I said, regular plants, easily gathered and quite nutritional. The first one, and the most obvious, is the dandelion. Everybody has it, you can't miss it, and this is a good plant in many ways. Now what I've done here is I've gathered up 3 rather large, shall we say, bundles and root bulbs, because I wanted to show with the roots. Now for the leaves, you don't want them, they are quite bitter when they're this big, but if you find young leaves, they are good in salads, and they're actually quite tasty. Now what I wanted, because I want these large ones, is I wanted to show the root bulbs. And these bulbs are, they're not big, but these are 2 inches by half an inch wide, the biggest one, and they can be boiled. What you do then is you take off the outer brown layer, you cut it into chunks, and you boil it, and that'll give it a sort of tastes a little bit like Brussels sprouts. It can remind of that. Another thing is, if you dry it and grind it up, that is actually a very good coffee substitute. This has been used a lot in the olden days as a coffee substitute, or as a coffee, and it can be used to stretch coffee. To stretch coffee means that you mix it up. So let's say you use half or 5 parts coffee and 5 parts dandelion root, and that'll extend it or stretch it. And then of course you have the flower. Now if you take the flower off like so and you eat it, you could get a very bitter taste, and that's because of the leaves and the sap. And the way I like to eat these anyway is I just take my fingers and grab a good hold of the petals, and I try to strip off all the green pieces and just yank off, and you can just munch that up, and it actually quite tasty. You know, see if I can see that on camera here, but anyways, you just take a good mouthful of that, put it in your mouth. Has a very sweet, almost sugary flavor. They are quite delicious. Sorry for talking with my mouth full there. So the dandelion, which is one of the most hated weeds, is quite good. And the young leaves are good in salads, but you can wilt it sort of like spinach. So that's the dandelion. The next plant I'm going to show you is well known and considered a weed as well. The stinging nettle. If you take the leaves on this, the whole plant can be eaten. You can eat the root. I didn't bring up the root because I just wanted to cover the plant itself. And I believe the stingers, or the reason it stings, is in the stingers is a formic acid, and it can burn. It just stings. It doesn't really hurt. It just stings a little. You can, if you handle it correctly, you can handle them without gloves and all that, and you can, without getting burnt. So yeah, but the way you can use it, you can take the leaves off the stem and you wilt them like spinach in water. These are actually very nutritional and full of minerals. The important part with a stinging nettle, you don't want to cook it too much because that'll just take the minerals right out. So you can just boil it up or wilt it up in water, and you have an excellent additive for your food. It's actually very delicious. Now another part, I haven't seen this very much. I've seen 1 or 2 videos, I think, or I'm not sure if I even seen any videos, maybe saw it in a comment, but a very easy part, or a very easy way to prepare nettles is, I always use the youngest, best looking shoots. I just picked this like 10 minutes ago, and you can see the plant is sort of already starting to wilt a little bit. But the very easiest way to cook a stinging nettle is if you just take the plant, hold it like I am now, and you have an open fire, and you hold it, you turn it in the open fire, and you just, it's a matter of seconds, you can say 15-20 seconds, just wilt it. You'll see the color start to change slightly brown. Like I said, no more than half a minute. That takes the stingers right out, eliminates the acid, and you can eat the leaves as a green. And that's actually also a very delicious way of eating it. The third plant I thought I'd make a video on today is in Norwegian. I do believe most people know it as tyskerkål or skvallerkål. The English name, well, the one that I found that I think people might know is Goutweed. The large, big plant or grown plants look like this. It has a very long stem, as you can see, very long stem, and some very typical leaves right there, or foliage. Like I said, the dandelion is probably the second most hated pest. This, I do believe, is the most hated pest. It is very hard to eradicate, takes a very long time, and it just keeps growing back. The smallest, the very, very smallest piece of a root will spring a shoot. So it's very hard to get rid of. Large plants like this are not really edible because they are bitter in taste and it's not really that good. But these are the large ones. If you pick them very, very young, like the ones I have here, which is the same plant, just some very young shoots. If you pick them when they're this young, they are actually quite delicious in salads, and you can use them as additives in salads or as green in salad. So that's goutweed. It was a medicinal plant earlier, hence the name goutweed, because we used to treat gout. In Norwegian that's podagra. But yeah, so this is goutweed. It doesn't really have much use today, as it's just a hated pest in the garden. But it can be, when they're very, very young, used as a green in a salad. Now the fourth one, I'm still learning about myself, so I am very careful when speaking about this, but the English name for it is, I do believe, cow parsley or wild chervil. Now the reason why I'm so careful about this plant is it has two plants that looks very much the same but are deadly poisonous, and the two lookalikes are called, well, the most basic one is the conium. The Latin name is conium, and you have, I have to use my cheat sheet, Conium maculatum, which is the poison hemlock. So this is the reason why I'm very careful about this one. I'm still doing research on it. It's a pest here in Norway, the cow parsley, but once used correctly it can be quite good and nutritional. So I have here two different plants, as you can see. I'm not sure, but if you see in the video, there's a very slight difference, and that is because, as far as I know, and again I'm just saying as far as I know because I'm still doing research, like I said, but this is cow parsley and this is hemlock. They are very much the same. There's hardly any difference except for the color on the stem. There's a very significant change of color there, and like I said, I'm still doing research, but the cow parsley is, the root can be used as a starch staples. You need to prepare it correctly to get it right and find some decent size, because they can be carrot size. But what you do is you peel off the outer layer, you cut it into small chunks, sort of like you would if you were dicing a potato, and put it in water and you give it a boil. Just let it boil up and pour off the water, and you do that 3 times. That'll eliminate the bad flavor, and you'll have a good starch staple. But like I said, this is a plant that I'm very careful of because of its poisonous lookalikes. So I'm still very careful about this. I don't have anyone to go to for reference, so I'm just having to do research via internet and books and all that. So like I said, this is the plant that I'm very careful about. But I do believe that the two you see here are hemlock and cow parsley. But the first 3 plants that I showed you do not have any poisonous lookalikes, so you'll be quite safe if you want to try and eat that. I suggest you do, because go out in your back garden, do some research. The 3 that I showed you are quite safe and quite delicious, and also it's good nutritional value. The stinging nettle, by far the best plant, because it is very nutritional, a lot of minerals, and once you get past the stingers, it's a great tucker. So thank you for watching, guys. I will do some more videos on wild edibles. I just have to get into the woods and do some foraging in there, and I'll see you again real soon.